Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show. I want to get into the comments made by conservative commentator Ben Shapiro, who publicly called for President Trump to pardon former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin for the 2020 murder of Mr. George Floyd. For those of you who didn't hear the sound, I'll play it for you. Take a listen.
If we are issuing pardons, however, there is one person that President Trump should pardon from federal charges forthwith. It would be incredibly controversial, but I think that it's absolutely necessary. That person is Derek Chauvin. President Trump should, in fact, pardon Derek Chauvin. He should. He should pardon him his federal charges. There is a man who is rotting in prison because the media decided in the middle of 2020 that they were going to turn a tragic law enforcement stop that ended with the death of a man who had a significant problem with drugs and pre-existing health problems into the raison d'etre of the entire 2020 election. And it led to vast chaos. It led to, again, the destruction of racial comedy in the United States, $2 billion in property damage, and a guy rotting in prison who the evidence demonstrates certainly was not guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in that case.
Among those reacting to that sound is Elon Musk, the billionaire advisor to President Trump, primarily over Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency. Remember him? Musk, who owns X, reposted the sound with the quote, "Something to think about," end quote. So let me ask you, Ben Shapiro. Let me ask you, Elon Musk. Are you just saying that you just don't want black people voting for you at all? Better yet, are you saying you don't give a damn about black people? I mean, why wiggle around it? Why don't you just say it? Why don't you just say it? Elon Musk, what the hell do you mean there's something to think about? Ben Shapiro, of all the people in the world that you could have asked for a pardon for, of all the people in the world, Ben Shapiro, Derek Chauvin's the guy. A white police officer who cuffed George Floyd, took his knee, put it on his neck, kept it there for over 9 minutes as George Floyd was crying and whimpering for his mama, as people were taking photos and video, as he was telling you he couldn't breathe, and you still kept your knee on his neck for over 9 minutes. And of all the people, Ben Shapiro, that you could have come up with to say he should receive a pardon, that's the person that came to your mind. Why? I'll ask you another question, Ben Shapiro. You know, you brought up, drug use. You brought up a criminal record, if I remember correctly. I think that's what you said, right? Right, Ben Shapiro? Just a simple question. Respectfully, sir. Would you have taken that position if George Floyd was a Jewish person? A white Jewish person? If a black cop had his knee on a white Jewish person for over 9 minutes, Ben Shapiro, would you have called for that individual to be pardoned? I'm just asking. It's a rhetorical question because you know what I believe the answer to be is, right? That's a website for the petition right there. How low can you go? You see, this is the problem, and this is where the Republicans are going to mess up. You see, because even though Trump's approval ratings have dipped from weeks ago when he was first reelected, the bottom line is he's the president, he's got the House, he's got the Senate, he's got a 6-3 majority in the Supreme Court. He's been handing out executive orders like bags of Skittles. He's got a whole lot going for him. The Republicans are in a position where all you have to do is live up to what you say. Donald Trump, remember what you said in 2015? What do you have to lose? Remember that? Remember you talked about the black vote, the Hispanic vote, and how you would do for other communities outside of white nationalists and other white folks who's not a member of white nationalist parties and stuff like that. Remember that? Remember that? Didn't your numbers increase with blacks? Didn't your numbers increase with Latinos? Didn't your numbers increase with the young voters? Think about what you got to do, Republicans. All you got to do, address the economy, address inflation, address the border, address deportation, by the way, because you got to get those folks out that were in here as well. And how you going to do that? Address crimes in the streets of America. Make sure folks got jobs. Make sure folks are safe. That's all you got to do. Here's a few other things that you got to do. It's not a laundry list. It's just a few. Avoid saying ridiculous nonsense like Ben Shapiro just said. Avoid making suggestions like that. Avoid your head of Doge, whose power has dissipated according to reports, by the way. Avoid him retweeting stuff like that or reposting stuff like that. When are you going to learn? Yes, you may want certain things. Yes, you may want your quality of life to be a certain way. This is not a quality of life issue, Ben Shapiro. This is a quality of life issue coming to the defense of a cop whose knee was on a black man's neck for over 9 minutes. That is what you want to condone. That is what you want to let out of jail. That is what you want to fall on your sword for. Would you do it if a white Jewish person had a knee on their neck for 9.5 minutes? And it was a black cop that did it? I mean, damn, Ben Shapiro. Damn. See, you could argue politics all day. I've seen you before. You're quite bright. Very, very smart. And your issues are your issues, whatever they may be. And I get that part. But to do something like this, to say something, it's the same thing along the lines where you're Ron DeSantis. By all accounts, prior to him running for the presidency, an absolutely fabulous governor in the eyes of some people. Clearly, there was a mandate in Florida when he won the midterms. There was no red wave in 2022, but there was certainly a red wave through Florida. That man won by a landslide. And what does he do? He wants to come out and give an explanation about the good benefits of slavery. That's what he wanted to do. This is the shit the Republican Party does that just boggles my mind. Everything's flowing. You got the Democrats on their heels. You got Kamala Harris out of the presidential picture, contemplating running for the governor's seat in California. A decision is expected to be made by the end of the summer. She is out in a lot of people's eyes. She ain't going to be a part of the national spotlight in 2028. So she's got to go for the governor's seat in California if she wants to sustain or build upon her political career. Gavin Newsom's throwing podcasts now, talking to Republicans, okay? If you can believe that. You got the Democrats showing up for Trump's address to both houses of Congress, looking like damn fools. Having videos where they dancing. You got to be kidding me. Putting 22 people on the screen at the same time, saying the same damn thing as if that message is going to resonate. Got a representative like Al Green out of Texas, 77 years old, obviously has fought the good fight, but looking incredibly immature and undisciplined. Wouldn't even give Trump a chance to speak, and he had to get removed from the House. And then yesterday, 10 Democrats joined with House Republicans to censure Al Green from Texas for his protest during President Trump's address to Congress Tuesday night. Trump didn't even have an opportunity to pass gas, and this man standing up protesting. Protesting what? He won the election. I'm on The View, and I got a bunch of ladies who I love and I respect coming up, talking to me on the show, talking about there's no mandate, courtesy of Joy Behar. What mandate? Kamala Harris lost all the swing states. There was an increase with black voters, Latino voters, and young voters. He won the popular vote. He won the electoral college vote. 89% of the counties in the United States switched to Republican, but there's no mandate. And you're going to get up at 77 years of age. Why don't you just tell the truth? You didn't feel like sitting there, you know you couldn't take it. So you had to come up with a reason. Because Trump didn't give you a reason, because he had barely spoken. And then these people holding up their signs. These Democrats looking like damn fools. I felt sad for my brother, Hakeem Jeffries, minority house leader. He sat there the whole time, but guess what? He didn't act like that. He was probably embarrassed by how they acted, like juveniles. Oh, by the way, I forgot to bring up how when Trump talked about the cancer, the kid that was suffering from cancer, and how he made him an honorary member of the Secret Service, nobody stood up. Or how he brought up Lincoln Riley, the 22-year-old who was killed by a migrant, and her mother and her sister were in attendance. They didn't stand up for that. All you did was give the impression anything that Trump favors, you're against. Wow, way to show the American people on the left you're ready to go do your job. Really? The Republicans, listen to me. As much as I don't want y'all to win, we got to call balls and strikes here. You got the Democrats reeling. I already pointed out how the vote highlights divisions within the party over how some members protested the president's remarks. Some held up signs. Others walked out or boycotted the speech altogether. Others took a more muted approach under the guidance of House Democratic leadership, who apparently urged members not to mount high-profile protests and cautioned them to show restraint. Now, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who I brought up, declined to comment on Green's move on Tuesday. However, speaking to a small group of reporters the next day, Jeffries said, quote, an overwhelming majority of House Democrats approached the speech with the seriousness that it deserved on behalf of the American people. Great quote to avoid pointing out that the rest of them acted like children. Republicans, you have them reeling. The Democrats are reeling. They are falling backwards. It's bad. But you can't help yourself. Ben Shapiro with that nonsense. Elon Musk, I'm sorry, was a Democrat. He was about to vote Democratic. All of a sudden, he's sitting up there tweeting something to reconsider. Are you kidding me? This is the most asinine nonsense. Is there just a concerted effort to show that you don't give a flying shit about how black people feel? Is that what this is? It makes no sense. Why would you fall on your sword for Derek Chauvin? Do you know Sean Hannity, Fox News, Mark Levin, the great one, big-time conservative radio host, along with others, they all called out Derek Chauvin. All of them. All of them. They said his ass need to be in jail. He had no business doing what he did. But Ben Shapiro and Elon Musk is going to say we should consider him being pardoned. Ladies and gentlemen, if they pardon Derek Chauvin, don't even think about giving them your vote. Listen, there's policies taking place that a lot of people, particularly pioneers and aficionados of civil rights legislation from 1964, talking about how you got folks trying to eradicate the progress that has been made over all of these decades. Yes, they're far more educated than me on that, and I understand in their eyes, you already have no reason to be voting for folks on the right. But if they do this, if they pardon Derek Chauvin, if they let that man out of jail after murdering George Floyd, you've learned all you need to know. don't even look at their asses no more. Ben Shapiro, again, for the third time. If that was a white Jewish person on the ground, cuffed, face down, whimpering and crying for their mother while telling you they're struggling, they cannot breathe, and it was a black cop on top of them with his knee on their neck for over 9 minutes, would you be calling for that person to be pardoned? I can't wait to hear your answer on that question. I really, really can't. And Elon Musk, you a lot of things. The owner of X. Nobody will mistake you for Malcolm X, I can tell you that much. I'll leave it at that. That's it for this edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Until next time, everybody. Peace and love. I'm out.